Why does it feel sometimes that you can have two people who respect each other so much, connect so much, have so much admiration and love for each other, but that it's not right romantically? Like, why is that? Because you have this beautiful lyric that in Nobody Knows that says, when you're so in love and your souls touch, but it's still not in love, where does it go? Like, I feel like that's something a lot of people have been
struggle with.
Yeah.
That's a great question. It is a great question. I don't have the probably greatest answer for. I think that's exactly why I asked, where does it go? Where does that love go when it's so present? And I think the best answer I can come up with is just that love is a lot, but partnership is more than love. And I think it has a lot to do with how you support each other in your day-to-day life, and really being honest about who you are, and making sure that someone that you're with is in support of that and doesn't have to bend themselves entirely to be in support of that, and vice versa, you know? And I think it's tough because you can go your whole life and never feel that feeling of deep love again. And I think it's just really complex. It's been something I think people have been trying to figure out for a long time. And I just think potentially, I mean, we've talked about love a lot. I think potentially we're still all wrapping our heads around love, and we're still working through such westernized movie, romanticized, dramatized versions of it. And if you go to places that have been less exposed to that type of thinking, then maybe love is a little simpler or a little more, I don't know. And so for me, like, I just like, hopefully there's a little bit of both. Hopefully you can have that spark and that magic and that love, and you can also have that compatibility where your two lives are working in flow with each other, you know? And obviously you're going to have to bend here and there, but I think to a degree, you know?
Yeah, I don't ask you or anyone because I think someone has the perfect answer. I know I don't. I ask because I think when people are navigating something, that's when they have the most reflective, variegated view of it. Because when you're actually going through it, you actually can at least, people can hear themselves in you, in your voice. And that's what the song does. It's like people listening to it going, gosh, am I with the right person at the wrong time? Or is it the wrong person at the right time? Or is it
And it's a constant question. It's like a constant question to be like, I mean, that's also part of it, is like, not, it's okay to be unsure, even if you're unsure for the rest of your life. Like, that might be part of it. And that's that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the art of what you're talking about in the album, what you talk about, what we've talked about, what you're speaking about is just this, like, how do we get comfortable with discomfort? How do we get okay with uncertainty? Whether that's, but that's like, that is the hardest thing. And like you said, it's not something that you ever get to. It's something you're constantly practicing, like constantly working on. And I feel like romantic love is the one that like exposes everything, because there's love, there's envy, there's comparison, there's competition. Like, there's so many emotions that it kind of triggers out in you. What have you done to manage your discomfort and uncertainty when it comes to
love, or just generally?
I'd say both. Both.
I mean, I think it's a lot of therapy, honestly. And I think for me, it's just, I think everyone's different. For me, it's really helpful to just speak as practical as I can about each situation.
Please,
this is what's happening, and this is what's not happening, and this is what's going on, and I'm feeling confused, and all of this is just happening, and that's okay. You know, I think, to be honest, it's like, I'm currently not in a relationship, so I'm sure I can't wait to be back in the love spins, the all the emotions getting triggered and all of this stuff, because being in a relationship is really hard. I think sometimes it's easier from the place of being single to be like in a place of like, hey, like, you know, find the balance. But like, once you're in a relationship, it's much harder. Well, once you have something to lose, it's much harder to not have a tight grip on it, you know? And so we'll see when I'm back in that state.
No, I love what you're saying, because I've always said, and maybe I've never even said this out loud, but I always reflect on, like, if forever for whatever reason, and not that this is indicative of anything that's happening, but if for whatever reason me and Radhi were to ever go our separate ways, it's interesting. I think a lot of people would say, oh, but you told us you loved each other.
Yeah.
And you told us you had the perfect relationship, and which I have not, and I don't have a perfect relationship. I've never claimed to have one, but the viewpoint becomes, but you guys, like, you know, Jay, you wrote a book on love.
Sure.
Like, how could you break up with someone? And I'm like, no, like, that's life. Like, that's reality. Like, and I think we have this view, again, clarifying, there's nothing going on.
Of course.
I'm just saying it for an example, because I think it's so important to address these things, because I think we have these very fixed viewpoints of what something should be and what something should look like.